This video is for the house first floor frame. So according to the instructions, it has suggested layers to use. Just for clarification, the marking scheme does not include layers. The suggestion to use layers is more of an organizational tool. But I would stress that if we look at our project as it stands at this moment, eventually we're going to have to create stairs to go into the basement. And at that point, it would be very advantageous to be able to at least delete the walls of the foundation to allow you to get in there and do what you need to do to create those stairs. After that, it's more of a convenience depending on how much you want to have to navigate your drawing. Okay, so let's get started with the front wall. This video is going to just include the front wall. The other walls will be in subsequent videos. So we're going to use vertical boards as always, 1.5 by 3.5, which are actually called 2x4s. We're going to space them 16 inches apart, 1 foot 4 inches from edge to edge or center to center. So because all lengths will not allow for perfect spacing, the last board will more than likely not be spaced 16 inches. Okay. So in making walls, we're going to start with a board on each end, and then we're going to fill the span with vertical studs, vertical boards spaced 16 inches. And from there, we're going to populate the details of the window and the door. Also, it is part of the marking scheme that we have our corner boards, so there's no specified spacing for these. It just, we're going to need to have boards in the corner. The reason for that is when drywall is applied, you need something to screw to. So let's scroll down and we're going to kind of look at some of our spacing. On top of our window, we use a 9.5 inch board, which we call a 2x10. Now, the first dimension that's going to give some people concern or thought is this one right here. So depending on which side you decide to populate your wall from, this dimension might not be achievable. So what I'm going to suggest to you is 1, 2, 3. That third board, don't worry about these boards in here. Beginning, so 1, 2, 3. The third board is going to be where you start this window. So let's see how this proceeds. So we're going to use the lumber pile, which is going to be the technique of choice moving forward. Let's just grab a board. We're going to go from the 2x4 section, and let's bring it on over here. Drop it off. As always, first thing you want to do is make this unique. Otherwise, as you may recall from a previous video, the lumber pile board will change as well. Actually, depending on how far you get, parts of your drawing might change. So let's just put this board on top. Okay, let's go corner to corner like so. Now I'm just going to show the front wall for this moment because that's the demonstration in this video. But if you're going to be doing consistently the same things like this board and this board, as you're doing it on your computer, you can populate both of the walls at the same time. It's up to you. Okay, let's zoom in and we're going to edit that board. We're obviously going to make this quite a bit longer, like so. Okay, zoom in. Just make sure we're all good. It's all kosher. Okay. Okay, let's grab another board. And before we go further though, we want to make sure that we know the height of these boards. So it's going to be 9'9". That's going to be the height of the boards that we use. let's grab a board. So this is 8, 10, 12, and 16 feet long. So the closest one's going to be the 10. Let's bring it over here. Make unique. Let's tilt that thing up. Now before we get too far, we're going to have to adjust the height. So there's two ways to do this. There's the mathematical way. So this is 10 feet. And we want it to be 9 foot, 9 inches. So we have a differential of 3 inches. So what we could do is in edit component mode, you could go edit component and push this down 3 inches. Okay. Now let's double check that using our tape measure. Okay. 9 foot 9. Okay, perfect. Now that's the mathematical way. Not everyone's a fan, so let's look at our plan B before we go too much further. Plan B, the non-mathematical way, and actually the way that kind of simulates how you do it in real life. Let's just measure 9 foot 9 inches, and we'll go up with our pencil. There's our mark. We can scribe a line, and instead of cutting it off with a saw, what we could do is we could push it off like so. Boom. So that's the non-mathematical way of doing it. Nothing should have changed. It should be 9 foot 9 inches. There you go. And we can now use that board. You can also push it from the top as well. So let's grab this board. We're going to place this at the beginning. Yeah, we're going to place that at the end. Okay. Now I'm going to populate this wall before I get into the details. So let's go like so. And I'm going to go type in 16. So what I've done is I've moved this. I have not clicked the button. I've just got it kind of hanging out there, but I got it on that line. So 16 inches. Enter. Now I'm going to go times, let's go 22. Enter. See how close I got. Well, I'm a lot closer than the last time I did this when I guessed 50. So let's just get rid of the ones that we no longer need. Okay, and these will all be spaced. Just randomly grab one. 1 foot 4 inches. There we go. Okay. Perfect. Okay, so if we look at our instructions, we're going to work on our first detail, which is this window here. Now once again, it gives this measurement 3 foot 4 inches. Now I purposely went from a different side than I did originally. So there's a mark there, and that's our guide, which I've already laid out, which should be 3 foot 4 inches. So you see there's no board there, because when I did the instructions, I started from this side. So don't worry about that. So all we're going to be looking for here is we're going to be looking for basically the first, second, and the third board. So from the edge to the right-hand side of that third board, that's where we're going to start. And it says from the bottom of the board to the bottom of that board is 1 foot 9 inches. So let's grab our tape measure and go over to that third board. Got 1. This is our filler. 2, 3. So let's go 1 foot 9 inches. foot 9 inches. Okay, perfect. Now 1 foot 9 inches is going to be the bottom of that board. And I'm just going to string over a construction line, which is a line that I'm going to use that we can get rid of later. So let's just do that. Okay, perfect. Okay, so I'm going to need a board right here. And I'm going to need another board. Space, basically the inside space, is 4 foot 11.5 inches. So let's not worry about that at the moment. Let's worry about creating this interior, this support board, which is going to hold the header up, which is what we call this board here. Okay, so I'm going to go and I'm going to create another board by copying the one that is closest, which is this one right here. And let's grab that. Okay. Now I've copied it. Now I want to make that unique. And I'm going to go into edit component mode. And because I created that construction line outside of edit component mode, it just sits on top. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a line on top of it in edit component mode so we can see it. And I'm going to push this over just like so. And that's going to make that disappear. It also simulates a cut. Okay, so let's just go over here and 4 foot 11.5. Now I'm going to guess if I go 4 foot 11.5. Let's just get rid of this for now. I go 4 foot 11.5 inches. Another construction line. I'm going to guess, and I am right, that it takes it right to there. So let's just copy this board here. Bring that there. And there's our ledge for our header. Okay, we probably won't be needing, well, let's leave that in there for now. So we're going to need to put our header in there. So here's what we'll do. Let's make this, this, and this unique. And let's see if we can just create a, oops. Let's just go and we're going to edit this component. Like so. And measure up 9.5. See, they all get that change because these guys are all in that same modification. So let's go like so. I got a line there. Let's work smarter, not harder. Let's push this through just like that. Now once in a while it's not going to disappear, and that's okay. So we'll just erase that. Just like so. Okay, now we can come back, and I'd I'd say we can eliminate that. And let's stick the header in there. So that's going to be overall 5 foot 2.5 inches. Okay. Let's grab a 2x10. Smallest one I got is 8 feet long. Okay. Be unique. Let's spin that around. Okay. Let's edit this component. Depending on the technique you want to use, I'm going to go 5 foot 2 1/2 inches long. Okay. Try that again. Okay. There's my mark. Give that a push to disappear. There we go. Okay, let's place that in its spot. And as always, grab it by a corner and it'll intersect with a corner. Okay. Now let's just spin around here. We are going to need 2 boards. Actually, truth be told, in real life, you need a little extra little spacer in there. But we're the architect. We are not the construction people. Okay. Okay, we've got that. Now what I'm going to do is, there's no board on top here, but sometimes people will put a board up there. For those of you worried about the marking scheme, I'm not going to, that's not something I'm going to worry about. But usually you'd see like a little board kind of sandwiched up in there, or sometimes you would. Okay, so we've got our header. We've got our basic window spacing established. Okay. Now it says from the bottom of the header to the top of this board here is 4 foot 10.5. Okay. So 4 foot 10.5. Let's get out our tape measure. Go like so. Go 4 foot 10.5 inches. Okay, let's see what that gives us. Okay. Let's draw a construction line all the way over to here. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, there's a third board in there. And before I get too overzealous with my trimming, okay, let's copy a third board in there. And okay, so these 2 boards here, I want to make them unique before we get too carried away. Make each one unique. And we're going to chop that top piece off. Go into edit component mode. Let's give that a push. Okay. Now we've got our support boards all in place. Perfect. Now what we need to do is we need to trim these. Let's see, edit this component. This should be part of that group that we made previous. Let's see if that holds true. Okay. Before you get too far, double check to make sure that you... Okay, perfect. Okay, we're now ready for that ledge. Let's grab a board wherever we can. I'm going to go back over to the lumber pile. Make unique before I forget. Okay. Okay. Let's grab it by that corner. And let's stick it in there. Now obviously this is quite a bit longer than we would like it. Now this end is accessible, so I'm going to trim it in place. If it was hidden, I would do it previously. I'll just go over here. Or if it's hidden, I would try to do it from the front and push it over. Okay, so we have our first window established. Okay. I guess before we get too far, or we could have done this previously, we could put our top board on. And since we're dealing with components, let's copy that bottom board and throw it on top. Okay, now let's see what kind of spacing we have. Basically, we've got our door frame starting 1, 2 over. Okay. So, according to this, 1, 2, this is where the door starts, right here. Okay, so let's check out that door. It's going to be 6 foot 9 inches tall from the floor. Not that board, the floor. Because we're going to cut this board out. Otherwise you would trip. So 6 foot 9 inches. Okay, so 1, 2. Okay. So I'm actually going to go into edit component mode here. Let's make this unique, because don't forget we copied this. We put it on top. We don't want to finish this, then look up and see the top board all changed on us. So let's do this before we get too far. So here's what we'll do. We're going to bring this board over here. Because we're going to be altering that bottom board. That's why I made that unique. So let's bring this board over here. And then from there, we're going to go into edit component mode. It's already unique. Okay. Okay. We're going to need this line so we can use it as a construction line just like we did before. So 6 foot 9 inches. So let's use that. 6'9". Okay. Okay. Now, this basically spans 2. So we've got our normally spaced board from here to here. So we got 1, 2, 3. So this is our board that we have. We go 2, 3, and we'll just kind of move on over according to that count. So this board here is the other side of the door. So that's 2'8". So let's double check that. And once again, that's from beginning to beginning. So what we would do is we would go from our mark right here. We go over and we go 2'8". Okay, perfect. So 2'8" is the beginning of that board. So what I'm going to do, this board here, I'm going to grab this board by here, and I'm going to stop it right there. That's our 2'8" right there. And that board's going to get cut. If you're not sure where we're at, 2'8" is our door width. And this board's going to get cut for the header to sit on. So that means what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this board here and I'm going to copy it. I'm going to make the previous one unique because it's not, we're going to have issues. Okay. So this one's 7.5 tall, so that's a 2x8. So we can just measure, we'll go up 7.5. And let's measure over. Okay, let's go into our unique component here. Let's create that pocket for our header. And let's push this over. That one's complete. Make that one unique. Add a component mode. Now we still have this one here. Gonna have to make this one unique as well. Let's go into edit component mode for this. Now normally I'd say, okay, we need that pocket for the header, but the whole bottom's gotta go. So for this, we can get away with just one line. And we should be able to push that out of the way to the limit. And it's gone. Okay. Let's get those construction lines gone. And let's grab ourselves a 7.5 inch board. 2x8. Make that unique. Okay. Let's put this into place. Like so. Now I'm going to quickly zoom around here. Let's copy this over. Okay. Let's edit this component. And since it's a little ambiguous over there, let's not worry about trying to push it out of the way. Let's do this. Should be able to click. Hits the limit and goes. Okay. Now if you look at these, there's a space. In real life, the construction worker would grab some scrap wood and stick it in there. But that's not really for us to worry about. Okay, let's now, last but not least, we're going to eliminate that bottom board in the doorway. So let's just go down there. Let's get our pointer. We're going to go into edit component mode. I know we've got that line. I just want to make sure that it's in my edit component mode. And we'll do this. And let's give that a push. And let's just erase what didn't want to leave. Okay, now let's look at our next window, which is spaced 2 boards over. So once again, it gives a space here, but I guarantee that space is not going to line up because I purposely started from the opposite side, which that's okay. So we got 2 boards over. So we've got I had to move this. So let's just go with, if we were to look at the measurement, that's 3 foot 2.5. And that mark is right there. Okay. And so basically, we've shifted everything because we started on the wrong, well, it's not the wrong side, but it's not the side that was used in the demonstration literature, which is okay. So once again, got a 1, and then we got 1 and a 2. Okay. So we're going to use this board right here. This is going to be the start of our next window. And it's 1 foot 9 inches down, just like the other one. So let's just get our tape measure. Okay, so we'll go 1 foot 9 inches down. And let's get a construction line in place, just so we have something to visibly understand where we're going. And that represents the bottom of that board. So we're going to have a board go all the way up to that. That third board, that'll support this. Okay, so let's copy that board over. Okay. Before we get too far, as always, let's make this unique, or else we'll have some unusual repercussions. So we're going to chop that off right there. Not that line. Let's say it'd be nice if SketchUp would allow us to lock these into place. SketchUp, if you're watching. Okay. Now let's scroll down and see our width. So the inside width of this is 4 foot 11 and a half. Okay. So that's from this corner here over. So let's type in 4 foot 11 and 1/2 inch, or decimal 5 if you're so inclined. Okay. Now, if we just copy this board here, over to here, okay, there you go, our sizes work out nicely. Perfect. Now what we can do is go, once again, go click, 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 right click, and let's make it unique. So this is going to be a 9.5 board. So let's go into edit component mode. Edit component. Let's draw a line because this line doesn't exist in edit component mode. And once again, I love picking that up. I'm not trying to. Okay, so let's go 9.5. My apologies if I jump from decimal to fraction. I like to kind of appeal to both. Okay, let's just erase that. Perfect. And at this point, we should be able to get rid of that construction line. So we got 4 foot 11 and a half. And 4 foot 11.5 on the other side. So you know what that means. Less work. All we have to do is cruise on over here, grab this component. Well, this component. Okay. And let's spin that around. Okay. Now, if somebody was really paying attention, what they could maybe come to the conclusion is you could create like a group with this window and then bring it over. And that's if you want to, because they are identical. So 4 foot 10.5 down to that support. Okay. So let's copy this board over. Like so. Let's edit this one here. Grab our pencil. And grab our guide point. And let's push this over. Oops. What did I do wrong? Forgot to make it unique. So let's make that unique before we get ahead of ourselves. There we go. Edit component. And once again, let's try this. Okay. So let's push this out of the way. And we can get out edit component mode here. Let's copy this over. Okay. Doesn't appear that it copied. It appears it just grabbed it. So let's try this again. Okay, put that back. Okay. Now what we have to do is we have to cut these boards here. And they were made unique all at once. So let's see if we can push this over all at once. Get rid of that line. Even though if we left it, it would be covered. Okay. Let's go over here. And let's grab this board here, copy it. Since our windows are the same. And let's drop that off. Okay. So we now have our wall complete. As part of the marking scheme, I would ask that you include all relevant dimensions. And that will allow you to have 12 at a 12. In case you're not sure, The dimensions are found on the secondary toolbar, unless you've modified your toolbar. And so let's say go up here, try from here to, don't forget you do need a line. So if I wanted to simulate that first measurement that we were looking at, so right there, so from here, if I wanted to do that, I would go from here to here, and that's 2 foot 11 inches, as opposed to the suggested 3 foot 4. So we're 5 inches out, but that's because we started from a different side. Nonetheless, we have the same result. Okay, that concludes part 1. Subsequent parts will follow.